One of the most vulnerable groups on the internet are teens, and our focus, Digital Citizens' focus on teens and drugs, stemmed from our report looking at drugs, looking at how online pharmacies were willing to really offer teens prescription drugs without having a prescription, didn't care how old they were, just cared about getting their credit card and getting paid. And as we did that report, following up on that, we realized that steroids were a big issue.
During the fall of his junior year, Taylor's baseball coach told him that he needed to get bigger in order to improve his chances of making the varsity team. When we finally figured out it was steroids, it was actually a doctor, a psychiatrist, that got Taylor to admit that he had been taking steroids. Like most doctors, they're not trained on how to deal with a steroid user, and the doctor instructed him to quit cold turkey. And in hindsight, that was probably his death sentence, because about 6 weeks, 7 weeks after Taylor stopped using steroids, he committed suicide. Our mission at the Taylor Hooten Foundation is to raise awareness about the size and scope of this problem and to educate America, in the broadest sense of the word, about not only the scope but on the dangers that go along with this whole class of drugs, with the ultimate objective being to drive this garbage off the internet, off the streets, and out of the schools of this country. We as Americans, particularly sports fans, get so focused on the latest professional athlete that's been caught using performance-enhancing drugs. But for every professional athlete that's using these drugs, we've got thousands of kids. At the high school level, for example, there's between 2 and 4 dozen kids in every high school, or in every average high school, using these drugs. If this were a disease, we would call it an epidemic. These numbers are larger than methamphetamine and cocaine and pharmaceutical drugs and all of the other drugs that we as a country have been so concerned about. Doctors agree that there's virtually no organ in the body that's not negatively impacted when you make a decision to use anabolic steroids or human growth hormone or any of the other PEDs.
A few of the things that the Digital Citizens found in our investigation is, one, that steroids are very prevalent among teens. Very prevalent, and teens admitted to taking them, and almost 1 out of 3 teens acknowledged that they knew someone who had taken steroids. Those numbers were almost similar for parents about knowing about people who had taken steroids. That was the first thing we learned. 2, we learned how accessible they are online. View popular websites like YouTube. The drug dealers, you think of drug dealers hanging around a playground to be able to offer drugs to kids. Well, in many respects, YouTube has become a playground for teens and preteens. The drug dealers are going to where the teens hang out, and that's on internet sites like YouTube.
These are black market drugs. There's absolutely no regulation. This stuff, much of it's coming from overseas. It's contaminated with everything from lead to mercury to zinc, tin, arsenic, dirt. Who knows what in the heck is really in these vials that our kids are getting in.
One of the things Digital Citizens has found as we've done our investigations into teens and drugs is the drug providers don't care how old you are or whether you have a prescription. All they want is your credit card so they can get your money. They're not interested in the well-being of the child.
Everyone listening to this needs to be asking what I hear all the time. Well, how is that possible? This is illegal. I mean, how can they be selling illegal drugs over the internet? The reality is they are, and it is extremely prolific, and we need law enforcement to take active steps in this area. We need internet companies, whether it's YouTube or Google or any of the other major players in this industry, to take offensive action to get this stuff stopped. And we need, we're actively looking for corporate partners who will stand beside us and help us raise awareness and take this message out to every high school and college and civic group across America, because people are unaware what our kids have access to, and not just access to, what they're actively taking advantage of.
When we're online, we're in a neighborhood, and we want the neighborhood to be as safe as possible. Safe from scams, safe from counterfeits, safe from content theft, and safe from drugs. So the more we raise awareness, whether that's among consumers to make good choices, whether you're a parent to make good choices and be on the lookout for your kids, or law enforcement or other people, we're trying to make sure they understand so good decisions can be made, good policies can be made, and good legislation can be enacted.